Let me start with the most surprising thing I've learned in over 20 years of working as a relationship psychologist. Most men think they know exactly what women want, and most men are wrong. Not because they're bad partners, not because they don't care, and certainly not because they aren't trying. They're wrong because no one ever sat them down and explained one simple truth. The things that make a woman feel deeply connected are often completely different from the things most men focus on. There is no instruction manual handed out when relationships begin. Nobody teaches men how a woman's emotional world works. And if we're being honest, many women struggle to explain it themselves. They feel it, they know it when it's missing. But putting it into words is often much harder. Before we go any further, I want you to pause for a moment and think about your own relationship. Maybe you've been married for 30 years. Maybe you're dating. Maybe you're watching this because you feel something slipping away and you don't know how to stop it. If that's you, I want you to know you're not alone. Thousands of couples face the exact same challenge, and I'd love to hear from you. As you watch, tell me in the comments, what do you think is the biggest thing women wish men understood about them? Your answer might help someone else reading through the comments. And if you've ever felt confused by mixed signals, emotional distance, or the feeling that you're trying your best but still somehow missing the mark, stay with me because today's conversation may completely change the way you see relationships. My name is Mary Smith, host of Senior Mindful Living YouTube channel. Over the years, I've spoken with countless couples. Some were newly in love, others had spent 4 or 5 decades together. And one thing kept showing up again and again. The strongest relationships weren't built on grand romantic gestures. They weren't built on expensive vacations or perfect communication. They were built on something much quieter. They were built on emotional safety. A woman who feels emotionally safe becomes more affectionate, more open, more playful, and more connected. A woman who doesn't feel emotionally safe often withdraws, even when she still loves her partner deeply. And here's where many men become frustrated. They think attraction works like a switch. They think if they say the right thing or do the right thing, the connection should instantly return. But for most women, especially women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, attraction isn't a switch. It's a process. It's something that grows when trust grows. It's something that deepens when emotional connection deepens. And one of the most powerful ways women experience that connection is through touch. Not just physical touch, meaningful touch. Touch that communicates something beyond itself. Every time you reach for a woman, whether she's your wife, your partner, or someone you've shared years of life with, her nervous system is quietly asking questions. Am I safe? Am I valued? Am I seen? Am I loved? Most of these questions happen beneath conscious awareness. She may never say them out loud, but her body asks them anyway. When the answers feel positive, her body relaxes. When the answers feel uncertain, her body becomes cautious. This isn't weakness, it's biology, it's psychology, it's human nature. I remember a woman I'll call Linda. She was 62 years old and had been married for 37 years. During one of our sessions, she said something that stopped the entire room. She said, "I don't miss being touched. I miss feeling cherished." Think about that. Not touched, cherished. The difference between those two words explains more about female psychology than many people realize. One is physical, the other is emotional. And when emotional meaning disappears, even frequent physical contact can start to feel empty. Today, I want to share 7 often overlooked areas that carry emotional significance for many women. Not because they're magical, not because they're secret buttons, and certainly not because they're techniques designed to manipulate anyone. They're important because of what they communicate, and what they communicate is often far more powerful than the touch itself. Let's begin with the first one, the back of the neck. Most people underestimate this area completely. But if you've ever watched someone carrying stress, you'll notice where tension often gathers first. The neck, the shoulders, the upper back. That's where the burden of everyday life tends to settle. Women today carry enormous emotional loads, family responsibilities, financial concerns, health worries, aging parents, adult children, work demands. The endless mental checklist that never seems to end. Many women are mentally working even when they're physically resting, and the back of the neck often reflects that reality. Now, here's what makes this interesting psychologically. When touch is gentle, slow, and predictable, the nervous system begins to interpret it as non-threatening. The body starts shifting away from stress mode, breathing slows, muscles soften, the mind becomes quieter. But notice what I didn't say. I didn't say fix her. I didn't say massage away her problems. One of the biggest mistakes men make is approaching touch like a solution. Women are not projects to solve. Many women simply want to feel accompanied, supported, understood. Imagine your partner sitting quietly reading a book. You walk by. You gently place two fingers near the base of her hairline for a moment. No expectations, no agenda, no attempt to start something, just warmth, just presence. That tiny interaction may seem insignificant to you. To her nervous system, it may communicate something much larger. I'm here. I notice you. You're not carrying everything alone. The second area is the space between the shoulder blades. This one is fascinating because it carries tremendous symbolic meaning. Think about it. It's literally a place we cannot easily reach ourselves, and psychologically that matters. Many women spend years feeling like they must hold everything together. They become caretakers, problem solvers, organizers, support systems for everyone around them. But who supports them? Who notices when they're tired? Who sees the invisible emotional labor they perform every day? One husband I worked with had been married for 42 years. His wife rarely complained. She handled everything: doctor appointments, family birthdays, holiday planning, household management, everything. One evening, after we had discussed emotional presence, he simply walked over while she was washing dishes and rested his hand gently between her shoulder blades. Nothing dramatic happened. No romantic music. No movie moment. But later she told him, "For the first time in years, I felt like someone was taking care of me." That's the power of emotional symbolism. The gesture itself was simple. The meaning behind it was profound. A lot of women don't need someone to rescue them. They simply need moments where they don't feel alone. And that single touch often communicates exactly that. The third area is one that many people dismiss because it seems too obvious: the hands. Now stay with me here, because this isn't about holding hands for appearance's sake, it's about intentional connection. Hands tell stories. Think about everything a woman's hands do throughout her life. They comfort children, prepare meals, write notes, build careers, care for loved ones, express creativity, offer support. Hands are deeply connected to identity. When someone holds your hand with genuine attention, it creates a surprisingly powerful emotional response. Research has repeatedly shown that supportive touch through the hands can reduce stress and increase feelings of connection. But here's where most people rush. They hold hands while doing something else: checking phones, watching television, thinking about tomorrow. Their body is present. Their attention isn't. Women often notice that difference immediately. One exercise I frequently recommend is incredibly simple. Sit together for 60 seconds. No television, no distractions, no phones. Hold hands. That's it. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Yet many couples find it surprisingly difficult, not because they don't love each other, because they've forgotten how to be fully present. As you hold her hand, pay attention. Notice the warmth. Notice the small movements. Notice how often your mind wants to wander. Then gently bring your attention back. This isn't really about the hand. It's about learning how to be present again. And presence is one of the rarest gifts we can offer another person. Now let's talk about something even more subtle: the area just behind the ear and beneath the jawline. Most people never think about this area. That's precisely why it matters. This isn't a place associated with routine affection. It's personal, close, intentional. When a woman allows someone into that space, there's already a degree of trust involved, and trust is the foundation of emotional intimacy. Here's something I've observed repeatedly. Women often pay attention to effort, not dramatic effort, thoughtful effort. The effort of noticing details, the effort of paying attention, the effort of slowing down. A gentle touch near this area often communicates something powerful: I see you. Not the version of you the world sees. You, the real you. Many women spend much of their lives feeling observed but not truly seen. People notice what they do, people notice what they provide, people notice their responsibilities. Far fewer people notice their emotions, their fears, their hopes, their exhaustion, their dreams. When someone consistently pays attention to those things, attraction often begins to grow naturally because emotional safety grows first. And that's where most men get confused. They chase attraction directly. Women often experience attraction as the result of feeling emotionally understood. There's a difference, a very important difference. Next, we're going to explore the remaining three areas, the surprising psychological reason many relationships slowly lose emotional connection over time, and the powerful story of a couple who transformed a decades-long marriage with one simple shift almost nobody talks about. If you're finding value in this conversation, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who could benefit from hearing it. Sometimes a single insight can completely change the direction of a relationship, and trust me, the most surprising lesson is still ahead. The fourth area is the inner portion of the leg near the knee. Now, before we go any further, I want to emphasize something important. This isn't about intimacy in the way many people immediately assume. In fact, the reason this area matters psychologically is because it exists far away from expectation. Many women spend years feeling that physical affection always has a destination. A hug leads somewhere, a kiss leads somewhere, a touch leads somewhere, and over time, that expectation can unintentionally create pressure. Pressure changes everything. Pressure causes people to evaluate rather than experience. Instead of relaxing into a moment, they begin anticipating what comes next. And anticipation isn't always connection. Sometimes it's tension. The reason slow, respectful touch in less obvious areas can feel meaningful is because it removes that pressure. It says something many women desperately need to hear without words. I'm happy just being close to you. Think about that message for a moment. Not, I want something. Not, let's get somewhere. Simply, I enjoy being near you. That message becomes incredibly powerful in long-term relationships, especially after decades together. One woman in her late 60s once told me something fascinating. She said, "When my husband stopped trying to impress me and started trying to understand me, I fell in love with him all over again." That statement stayed with me because understanding creates connection, and connection creates attraction, not the other way around. The fifth area is the lower back. This is one of the most emotionally significant places on the body because of what it symbolically represents. Support, stability, partnership. Think about how naturally people place a hand on someone's lower back when guiding them through a crowd. It's reassuring, protective, grounding. The lower back occupies a unique place in our psychological experience because it connects to feelings of security. When a partner gently places a hand there without rushing, without pulling, without directing, it often communicates something simple but profound. I'm with you. Not ahead of you, not behind you, with you. One couple I worked with had reached a difficult point after nearly 35 years together. Nothing dramatic had happened, no betrayal, no major conflict. They had simply drifted apart. The husband described it perfectly. He said, "We're functioning well, but we're no longer connecting." That sentence describes countless relationships. Everything appears fine from the outside. Bills get paid, meals get cooked, schedules get managed. But emotionally, something important has gone quiet. As part of rebuilding connection, I encouraged them to focus on small moments of physical presence. Nothing elaborate, nothing artificial, just brief moments throughout the day. A hand on the lower back while walking into a restaurant, standing close together while talking, holding hands during evening conversations. Several months later, his wife told me something remarkable. She said, "I don't know exactly what's changed, but I feel like we're a team again. That's the goal, not perfection, partnership." The sixth area may surprise you. It's the lower abdomen. And before anyone misunderstands this, let's talk about why it matters psychologically. For many women, this area is deeply connected to vulnerability. Not simply physical vulnerability, emotional vulnerability. It's an area associated with intuition, emotion, and self-awareness. Whether people realize it consciously or not, many emotions are experienced physically in the body. Think about common expressions: a gut feeling, butterflies in your stomach, a sinking feeling, a knot in your stomach. Notice how often emotional experiences are described through sensations in this area. That's not accidental. The body and mind are constantly communicating. When a woman feels emotionally secure, her body often reflects that security. When she feels stressed, disconnected, or anxious, her body reflects that too. This is why emotional safety matters so much, because attraction cannot thrive where chronic stress dominates. Many men spend years trying to create attraction when what they really need to create is safety. Safety isn't boring. Safety is not the absence of passion. Safety is the foundation that allows passion to flourish. Without safety, people protect themselves. With safety, people open themselves. And opening oneself emotionally is one of the greatest gifts any human being can offer another. Now we've reached the seventh and perhaps most important area of all. It's not a body part, it's attention. Yes, attention. The most powerful place a woman wants to be touched is often not on her body at all. It's in her emotional world. The reason so many men miss this is because attention feels invisible. You can't measure it. You can't photograph it. You can't wrap it up and present it as a gift. But women feel it immediately. They know when you're listening. They know when you're distracted. They know when you're physically present but mentally somewhere else. And they know when they're truly the center of your attention. One of the greatest misconceptions about female psychology is that women are asking for complicated things. Most aren't. Most want what all human beings want: to feel valued, to feel appreciated, to feel understood, to feel important to the person they love. A husband once asked me, "What's the fastest way to make my wife feel loved?" I told him something that surprised him. I said, "For the next 10 minutes, ask her about her day and don't mention yourself once." He laughed, then he tried it. The following week, he came back and said, "That was harder than I thought." Of course it was, because genuine attention requires effort. It requires curiosity. It requires slowing down. And that's exactly why it matters. When a woman feels deeply heard, she often becomes more open emotionally. When she becomes more open emotionally, affection follows naturally. This brings us to a truth that I wish every man understood. The problem in most long-term relationships isn't a lack of love. It's a lack of expression. People assume their partner knows how they feel. They stop saying things. They stop noticing things. They stop reaching out. Not intentionally. Life simply gets busy. Days become months. Months become years. And before they realize it, two people who genuinely care about each other begin feeling lonely together. Loneliness inside a relationship is one of the most painful experiences a person can have. Because the person you want connection from is right there, yet somehow still feels far away. The good news is that connection can often be rebuilt, not through grand gestures, not through expensive solutions, but through consistent small moments, moments of attention, moments of affection, moments of presence. I want you to think about your relationship right now. When was the last time you sat together without distractions? When was the last time you looked into each other's eyes for more than a few seconds? When was the last time you touched your partner simply because you enjoyed being close to them? Not because you wanted something, not because you were trying to fix something, just because you cared. Those questions matter because relationships rarely collapse overnight. They slowly drift. And if drifting happens slowly, reconnection can happen slowly too. One small moment at a time, one conversation at a time, one act of attention at a time. I've watched couples in their 70s rediscover affection they thought was gone forever. I've watched people who believed it was too late realize they were only a few meaningful changes away from feeling close again. The opportunity is almost always there. The question is whether we're willing to slow down enough to notice it. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to leave you with one final thought. A woman rarely remembers every gift you've given her. She rarely remembers every compliment word for word, but she remembers how you made her feel. She remembers whether she felt safe, whether she felt appreciated, whether she felt understood, whether she felt chosen. Those emotional memories last far longer than most people realize. So tonight, Try something simple. Put away the phone, turn off the television, sit beside your partner, hold her hand, listen to her, notice her, be fully present, not for an outcome, not as a strategy, but because relationships are built in moments exactly like those, and often the smallest moments become the ones that matter most. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear which insight stood out the most and whether you've experienced the power of these small gestures in your own relationship. And if you're committed to building a stronger, healthier, and more connected relationship, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future conversations. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people you love. And remember, meaningful connection is rarely about doing more. Most of the time, it's about being more present.